So we will start this Encounter Artist Talk conference. I have written the introduction, have written everything. I will read that. I will go from time to time off script. I'm very happy Luis is here, a remarkable scholar and artist and friend also. Okay, I will start, and we will introduce the evening, the afternoon, and then Luis will talk about his work and show fragments of his work, and later I will do the same, and then we will have space for a conversation, for questions, and then we will have food there. Yes, and if we have time, we can continue the conversation in a more informal way. So thank you all for being here today and for sharing your time and presence with us at this event. First of all, I would like to thank the UNM Theatre and Dance Department for making this event possible, as well as the Department of Art and Public Policy at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, and the UNM Latin American and Iberian Institute for their generous support. I would like to acknowledge the original peoples of New Mexico, Pueblo, Navajo, and Apache, who have nourished, protected, and maintained deep connection to this land since this immemorial time. As a visitor, as an immigrant, we wish to honor their presence and ask for their permissions and blessing for this gathering. The topic of today's meeting is Crossroads, traditional songs and contemporary performance. We have with us artist, scholar Luis Rincón Alba, originally from Barranquilla, Colombia, who currently serves as an assistant professor in the Department of Art and Public Policy at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts. Today, we will discuss and watch fragments from Luis' artistic work and research, as well as fragments of a documentary featuring the work of my theater group in Argentina. Then, we will open the floor for questions, and afterwards share some food. We don't have drinks, but we have food, and there is a water fountain there. So I will read Luis' biography. It's a short one, meaning the biography is very long. We did a short version. I did a short version. And then I give him the floor. So Luis Rincón Alba is an artist and scholar whose work investigates the political and social significance of Caribbean and Latin American festive practices. His research explores histories of rebellion and insurrection and how they influence contemporary art. He is currently an assistant professor in the Department of Art and Public Policy at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, where he is developing a book on carnival, riots, and radical mutuality. As an artist, he combines historical materials with media like performance, film, sound, and writing to explore rebellions and spoken lineage. Rebellions and spoken lineage. Recent artworks include the performance Chant Down and the installation The Voice Does Go Up, shown at Hannah Traore Gallery and Sovereign Futures. So that is the condensed biography
Gracias, Ale.
of Luis. So, yes, thank you.
Alejandro, thank you very much for this invitation, and thank you very much to all those who made this gathering possible. Being with Alejandro, a dear friend of mine, is always a pleasure. We have known each other for quite some time, and I also want to express my gratitude to Dominica Laster for being here. I think, and I probably haven't said this to her ever, but I think it's the person that, one of the persons that have influenced my professional work in the most determinant ways. I wouldn't be where I am without having met her in New York around 2010, if I'm not. So a while back. So it's truly an honor to have you here. So thank you very much. I also want to say thanks to Aga, whom I also have known as long as I have known Alejandro. Aga, always a pleasure and an honor to share with you. The students who were at Alejandro's class yesterday, I'm happy to see you again. We had so much fun yesterday. I hope that now you're enjoying salsa and reggaeton in a deeper way. And thank you very much, all those of you who I haven't met yet. Trevor, we met a few days ago, but I have a feeling that we've known each other for a while. So this is what I want to do, as Alejandro explained. What we want to do is to provoke a conversation around certain common aspects in his work and in my work. So what I'll do is that I'll share two works that, even though they are separate now, originally they were part of a single project. It's one project that then gave life to another project. So I want to show you the installation, The Voice Does Go Up, who, as Alejandro mentioned in my biography, was commissioned and presented at the Hannah Traore Gallery in 2023. So I prepared a text, and then throughout that text, which is mostly a curatorial text that my partner and I, who was also my collaborator in this project, we developed this text, curatorial text, with Hannah Traore and Alison Glenn. So let me read this. The Voice Does Go Up is a multimedia installation and performance site that explores the various dimensions and potentials of the human voice. Activated through video, audio recording, and live performance, these scenarios feature collective assemblages of sound where the voice emerges through its gestural and material qualities. Emphasizing the role of the voice in music, the installation explores and accentuates the most captivating and enchanting traits of sound. The exhibition's title originates in a quote from the St. Lucian, Caribbean poet and playwright Derek Walcott. In an interview with Edward Hirsch for the Paris Review in 1986, entitled The Art of Poetry, Walcott compared the task of the poet to that of the calypsonian, meaning the calypso singer, explaining, quote, "The voice does go up in a poem. It is an address, even if it is to oneself." The exhibition space is a monochromatic red environment featuring two tall panels onto which videos are embedded. The panels surround a performance device, a sparse plywood and canvas cube where the sound piece is played, a grounding structure within which the voice is amplified. Throughout the installation, captivating visual reflections emerge, offering insights into the physical conditions necessary for the voice to ascend. There are two types of videos in the exhibition, each offering unique perspectives. The first type comprises videos captured during fieldwork in Cuba Brazil, and New Orleans, documenting vibrant religious and carnival celebrations where the charismatic power of the singing voice leads intimate gatherings. These videos provide viewers with the privilege of witnessing the body mastery required to channel specific vocal techniques that are believed to summon mystical forces. Otro click. So the Voice Does Go Up started as a visual indagation for the corporeal aspects in singing. So the initial project was made of films without sound, in which I was recording traditional singers singing, but without having the sonic aspect, so that the viewers could contemplate the physicality, the gesture. And then around this video, what you see is some images of my fieldwork in carnival and religious spaces in Cuba, in Brazil, and in New Orleans. In contrast, the second type features a studio recorded video. There are two types of videos. In contrast, the second type features a studio recorded video. Set within a controlled environment, these videos examine the intricate process behind producing such ascending voices. Singers and musicians hailing from the Caribbean diaspora and currently residing in New York demonstrate how the body contours, twists, and reshapes itself to achieve vocal strength. The central video features Colombian-born singer Carolina Oliveros, who is the woman who you see sitting in the chair. The sound piece in the performance side offers a deeper reflection on the transcendent aspects of the voice, overcoming the ordinary relationship we have with our voices and exploring its transformative potential in individual and communal experience. As I like to put it, more than attention, we are invoking here a fleshly attunement of sorts. This attunement also requires us to put ourselves in the path of these dancing words with all our flesh, not only just our bodies. That we allow ourselves to be moved by the words themselves, which is a way of always saying the words and the voice and the words in the voice in the words, the voice of the word. So what you saw, the images that you saw are part of that installation, which we conceive as a performance site. For the time that the installation was on at the Hannah Traore Gallery, we performed a piece titled Chant Down, which I'm gonna say a few words now, and that we will get a chance to see a fragment of two performances after I finish with this presentation. But we conceive of that piece as a performance that took place once a week for the 6 months that the installation was on. So, and we had an audio engineer coming and recording every performance session. So when we weren't performing, people could come in the gallery and listen to the performance recording on a loop. So people could sit down, and there were benches. It was, as we like to call it, a performance device. Chant Down. Chant Down is a performance series that accompanies the installation The Voice Does Go Up, which investigates the forces and rebellious energies that inhabit traditional Caribbean songs and explores the anti-colonial legacies that gave shape to ancestral percussive and chanting techniques. This performative exploration revisits the modes these legacies are reactivated through repetitive rhythmic and harmonic structures. Awakened by collective chanting, the performance seeks to access the vibrational registers, sometimes secret and hidden, in which the history of Black and Indigenous struggle found refuge. Spectators are invited into a performative listening session that makes manifest the existence of highly complex musical and sonic structures in which emancipating legacies have been codified and passed down to us. This series was developed in collaboration with Carolina Oliveros an influential Colombian singer, composer, and researcher based in Brooklyn, New York. In Chant Down, Carolina leads an experimental vocal and percussive ensemble that weaves multiple Caribbean and Latin American musical traditions that find a connective tissue, a rhythmic one that brings together sonic traditions that have played a central role in the political history of the Americas. Chant Down seeks to rescue some of these sonic practices and recover them for a contemporary understanding of their value, relevance, and above all, their political potential. In other words, their capacity to mobilize collective assemblies. The installation and the performance series in harmonic conjunction transport visitors into a realm where music, spirituality, and the human body converge. And I want to say something about, there is an organic way in which projects gave birth to each other. Between 2017 and 2022, I had the pleasure of co-directing Rumba de la Musa, which was a collective experience, a free public event in which we put together master musicians from religious traditions from all over the Caribbean and Latin America. We brought them together in open spaces, no charge, no ticket, we never asked for money, for any type of money, and people would get there, find music, not properly a performance, because our interest was to have, for example, cumbia musicians exchange with cumbia musicians from Colombia, exchange with bomba musicians from Puerto Rico, have pleneros play with Brazilian musicians. So we were interested in that exchange. So there wasn't properly a performance in itself, but we only wanted that crossroads, that space which New York is. I've been living in New York for 15 years. The way I like to put it is that New York City is the most Caribbean city outside of the Caribbean. Some people say, what about New Orleans? New Orleans is in the Caribbean. So if you have a problem with that, is just check the geography. But New York has that capacity of being a crossroads. So for 5 years, we had that privilege of putting music together and having people spend time together. So there was no performance. Usually each event lasted for 4 to 5 hours and sometimes 7, 8 hours because it was about the exchange. No, the center of the gathering wasn't the performance itself. And now I want to share 2 fragments from 2 different films. The first one is a film that we're currently developing with my partner, Camila Falquez, which shows performance without spectators in the installation at the Hannah Traore Gallery. And the other one is a documentation. The second fragment is a documentation of our participation in the Sovereign Futures gathering in Tulsa, Oklahoma last year, which was curated by Alison Glenn, and that we will present next time at the Toronto Biennial next year. That was Chant Down. The first fragment was inside the gallery, so it had an initial installation, and then we developed this other staging to travel with the performance. But the second piece wasn't a film; was a documentation. So, thank you.
So now we will see fragments of a documentary that Trevor Meier did on my work in Argentina back in 2017. The film is titled Cántame. It documents the work and practice of my theater group, Casa Talcahuano, centered on traditional songs from the Americas and West Africa. The film was shot in 2017, and it was in Buenos Aires, in the periphery of Buenos Aires, in a town called Villa Martelli, where our theater was placed. So I would like to give you the context of what you are going to see, and which is quite a complex. There were many things happening at this moment. It was 2017, and we were rehearsing and preparing a theater performance, or like singing theater performance. So there were these three areas in which our group was working. One of them was a public workshop. The other was the rehearsals of the performance that we were about to finish in these months. And the third one was our daily practice on singing and acting. So the workshop was called La Casa de la Montaña, that means the mountain house. It was a 3 or 4 hour session in which we explored the potential of an encounter between groups of different nature. One group that have more experience in the work with songs, meaning the actors and actresses of Casa Talcahuano, and another group that didn't have any experience with that. With minimal explanations or instructions about what to expect or do, we sang and danced for 2 hours or sometimes more without stopping. Together, the two groups attempted to climb up a metaphorical mountain, an invisible mountain that existed within us and between us in that room. We can talk about this later if you want. The second aspect of the work was the rehearsals and the preparation of our performance. That was the first performance that we did, called Oda a los Desterrados, which means Ode to the Outcast or Ode to the Exiled. This work included, at that time, scene montage. We have different scenes, different songs, and I was trying to put them together in a way that makes sense. We were working inside the songs and the scenes on the composition aspect that we can later discuss more about the compositional aspect, but you will see some fragments of that. And we were working a lot in the tuning work of the songs. The third area that occupied our time at that point was the ongoing practice of acting and singing that our group always had. And that work included presentations and preparations of scenes, or we call it acting propositions. It also, we were working in the tunings, long tuning sessions, that was quite challenging. And we were doing also daily physical training. So these three areas, the preparation of ODA, the open workshop, the mountain, La Casa de la Montaña, and our daily practice was happening simultaneously every day. The workshop, I think, was 3 or 2 days per week. So we were working from 9 to 6 p.m., from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., depending the day. So behind these 3 areas of work, as an artistic director, I have 2 main objectives, or 2 main goals. One of them was the transmission of what I know about acting techniques and singing techniques within this context. I have the objective to pass to other people that were interested in knowing what I knew, what was passed to me. Within the frame of this transmission, I was thinking in my somehow mythological terminology, which is not mine, that this work of transmission also is related to the development of presence, the development of a type of sensitivity to the present moment, to the others, to the sonic qualities, to the actions. And in other words, it can be also seen as the development of an organ of perception. And that's not my terminology, but I feel that it's very useful. On the other side, my other objective was, and perhaps was the most important, was to help the actors and the actresses and the participants in the workshops to access to a living experience. I was trying to guide them to connect while singing and dancing with a very subtle inner process. And we can talk about this later. About the people that you will see. The group of people that you will see was composed by 3 different groups. The core members of Casa Talcahuano, the theater group, workshop participants that have been working with us for different periods of time, and some people were there for the first time, and some guests, some artists that were there with us, and I didn't know why, but they were interested. They didn't belong to the group. They didn't want workshop participants. They wanted to be close to us. They wanted to sing. They wanted to dance and participate in this work. So the door also was open to them. So the group was quite diverse, people with different experiences in theater. Some of them were actors, some of them were musicians, some of them were circus artists, some of them were wanderers that heard about us and came, and there were some friends also. They were from Argentina, from Brazil, from France, from Italy, from Chile, and Colombia, and Trevor from Canada was filming there. So the songs that you will hear in this 12-minute fragment are 6 songs from the they are Afro-diasporic songs from Trinidad and Tobago, from Haiti, from Colombia, from Cuba, and 2 songs that I don't know the national origin, but culturally they belong to the Yoruba tradition from West Africa. And the last thing is a thought about the crossroad and the hidden territory. When I think the title of our session today and the work, I see a very interesting connection. The crossroad for us and our work at that time was a very concrete space. It was the point of intersection between the vertical and the horizontal. The horizontal relates to the life of the body and the life of the mind. The vertical, in the words of Jerzy Grotowski, relates to ascension and descension of energies. In that intersection, there is a potential. There is a chance, and also there is danger. In this type of work that Grotowski described as art as vehicle, the songs operate as devices that traction in the center of that crossroad, in that intersection. The songs are devices, are coded artifacts that operate in that crossroad. The songs are rhythmical structures. The songs are melodical structures, but also breathing structures. Their architecture organized the breathing in a very specific way. In my experience, these very, very special songs regulate the body movements with their rhythms. The melodies regulate the breathing, and together they also regulate mind flows. We can talk about this, and when I say mind, I'm brutally reducting, synthesizing a very complex and multiple function space, entity, piece of organ. Within us, there is a deep desire of perceiving life and its peak. Life as a whole, at least to me and to the people that are featured in this documentary. There was the need of living life for moments in its most essential form, in its most essential texture. We wanted to overcome our experience of being separated from life. This work which is very demanding, the work on the singing and the acting, was aimed at reaching that desire of being in touch with that hidden territory. So, this is the trip in which we were, and which I am. So, a note on that. So, when I saw the documentary, because we were working, and after some months or years, Trevor showed me the documentary, I have many feelings because I was there all the time. But you know, I'm getting used to see myself in the documentary, and but the most important thing for me is what this unstoppable need of reaching that space. Sometimes failing, sometimes the opposite of failing.
Huele, huele, mi sudilla, ayawa tirelorio, yaba ule, yaba kosheo, yayawa magire. Huele, huele, mi sudilla, ayawa tirelorio, yaba ule, yaba kosheo.
There is something within us that is hidden. It can't be touched without a specific work, a specific practice, a specific attention. Casa Talcahuano is a team of actors and actresses exploring the fundamentals of the theater craft, how we can create a practice to get in touch with this hidden territory of ourselves. The specific exploration that we are doing is very much about what is action, what is organic behavior, what it means to create a scene, but most of the work is related to the singing on traditional songs. It seems to me that in these old songs there is kind of coded artifact. In the past, there was not an author, there was the community who did the song. The song is like a footprint that can have an impact on you, on the person who sings, and the people around. Either you are singing it, either you are listening it, either you are dancing it. They call something human in people that can't be replaced with any other artifact. It can't. We need to hear vibration, the voice. And so I think that these songs are about that.
Él dijo, ama a tu hermana como tu propia alma. Protégela como la pupila de tu ojo.
It's quite a big thing, you know, like this what we are talking about. For me, you know, because how to say, it's true, you know, it's that this phenomenon can happen and is happening, of course, yes. Otherwise, I don't know if the camera can catch it, but you are in the room and you perceive it, you know, your skin goes like, you know, and it's repeatable, and we are working each day for this somehow, for this to happen, and then to create structures for that. But yes, it's something very concrete, and when we start to explain that, it's very dangerous, I feel, because if someone hear this a little out of context, will think that I am a guru or something like this, you know? And this is something that, no, man, I am a worker, you know, I'm an artist. I create things and I work with people, but this phenomenon of this gaze, it's real. It's real. It's real. Oda is a theater piece that includes the audience in a very close proximity. It is constructed as a poem for the spectator to witness something that happened among them and hopefully within them. What basically we do is like take a text and create a structure around this text. Sometimes it's not a text, but a song. I mean, the story it appears after, it appears later. For me, the main thing is that the actors, the actresses, they connect with something that they want to say, something that they want to do. Sometimes it takes a long time to understand what is this springboard. This is the adventure in creating. We don't know what are the springboards. We don't know what will be the thing that propels a given actor or everybody. So this is what we are looking for while creating.
Tunye 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 baru tunye akasa mangoya baru 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 tunye 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 baru tunye Very good.
What do you think? We go through open for questions,
Yeah,
impressions.
if people have questions.
You're welcome. So we can open the floor to questions and observations. I also have some questions for you.
Me too. So if you don't want to, if you are shy, there are a bunch of questions.
Yes. Nick.
I really enjoy the idea of you pulling music that is spiritual like that. My biggest question, did you feel that connection while you were working with all of that? I'm assuming so.
To me?
Either of you, both of you.
So the work for this particular performance, we wanted to work with people who were deep into the religious tradition. That was a conscious decision that emerged from the multiple years doing this like open gatherings, because like in the open gathering, it's not that basically two masters, drummers from Cuba, one from Cuba and another from Venezuela, Yoruba Nkene and Roman Diaz, said, we have to do this, but we have to do the devotional part. And the devotional part, so the devotional part was the main thing. The bringing these songs into an artistic space is just a trick. Because the main thing, and that's why for us was important to work with people who were deep into the tradition. Because what we were trying to do wasn't to have that experience, because we have it once a week at least, because of the religious tradition, which in that case is either what is known as Santeria or the Cuban variation of the Yoruba tradition, which is Lukumi, which is known as Lukumi, and in my specific case, Palo Mayombe. And we were working with a bunch of songs from multiple places. I have because it's easier to like, it's super easy to like define the place where the songs come from by saying a nation state, and I don't want to say that because these songs and these traditions do not belong to any nation. They are not because of the nation, but despite of the nation. The nation later appropriated that. So what we were doing, and it was something that when I met Alejandro, Aga, Dominica, and the work that they were doing around Grotowski, it was something that I witnessed, and I said, "Oh, nice! There is like like capacity of isolate certain things and put them in a non-religious space, and still have something." But that is not the going, because the going in deep is devotional. It might require stuff, because they are, and I don't want to define what they mean, but like they are really stubborn. So, they love to go off script. So, but there was something, but there was a little bit of that, which I think when Alejandro was introducing the work, I was thinking, because the ascension and descension, because the two works that I present in one is the voice does go up, and the other one is chant down, which comes from the Jamaican Rastafarian tradition, from a song. We're gonna chant down Babylon kingdom down. So which means that singing, we're gonna bring down Babylon. But that's, I don't know if that's an answer, but there was something of that feeling that presence that we must have in an everyday life. But the devotional aspect, I don't want to say religious, the devotional aspect requires some other stuff.
For me, it was interesting that, you mentioned the word spirituality. I have it written in my notes because in our context, so me as the director, I always avoided that term, spirituality, anything that have to do with that realm. I would be, and it was in purpose. So I wanted that all the people who are working define that work in their own terms, and not comes from me. We will do a spiritual practice. Also because we were kind of, it was a combination of people that they probably weren't rooted in a concrete religious spiritual practice. And that probably was what brought us together, that we didn't have. We were like cut from that connection. So that separation makes the work possible with having an omission of that, of that thing. So we were very technical in the terminology, very technical. Yes.
In the documentary, it seemed like the way you talked about it, were like they're artifacts, like you were pulling these keys of Solomon, essentially, like to open the doorway, but you were just using it as a piece of art. But there was moments when you were talking about it being a thing, like you would get into these states of mind that felt very much not, normal, I suppose. I'm not gonna say spiritual, but were you trying to approach those kinds of states of mind? Were you trying to get yourself into that kind of openness, like that sort of?
Of course. That was one of the objectives. And this is why, we were talking about the Crossroads, or Jerzy Grotowski was talking about art as vehicle, very smart. Art as vehicle for what? art, what art, how we make art, and what is the vehicle and what is the vehicle for. So, and he was talking about this crossroad as well, like ascending and descension of energies. He was not talking about deities or spiritual forces or saints or anything of that you can find this description of a type of work like that in those traditions as, okay, this is Oshun, this is Tao, this is this, and you should do it in this way, in this way. So there is a whole system.
Yeah, my question is this kind of an abstract art that I try to wrestle with the intention that you try to deliver to the audience. I try to see the performances or the performance and the attire, how people dressed. What is the connection between, or is this something on purpose, or is this like an abstract fusion of different? I know there's different cultures and people with different religious beliefs and traditions, but I am not sure what is the message that you're trying to send to the people who are watching.
I don't think that there is any message. I think that there is a need and hard work, and that is the result. Maybe a year later or a year before would have been something different of what you saw, but I don't know if there is message there. We like to do theater as well, and we like to sing, and we like music. But I don't know if there is something that I want to state, with my work as director or performer. It's more, I don't know, it's the result of a research. Aesthetically, what you see, well, there are many different choices and combinations and coincidences, like instruments that came to us or we were looking or were given to us, clothing that we choose. That space was the kitchen of our theater, and it was warm in winter, so it was better for us to work there, though, and the acoustic was better than in the main room. There were many type of decisions. We were doing workshop also to find some money to live. So, yeah.
I guess that I can also say something in my specific case, because there is something in your question that also there is something there that also concerns the works that I presented, and I think so I chose a few years ago, I chose to work on contemporary art spaces, and that brings certain freedoms and certain prohibitions, which they turn that into a fertile space, fertile ground, and then because most of the songs that compose the performance structure and the videos that are part of the installation, which are percussive, they belong to the percussive traditions in the Caribbean connected to the religious practice. They have been historically, they're deemed as folklore. And folklore has some problematic tendencies because, what I tell my students is like honestly, when I think of folklore, the first image that comes to my mind is ballet. Really, there's nothing more folkloric than ballet. But because of these prohibitions and because of these in positions, everything black or indigenous is folklore. And then that folklore is connected to the past, meaning this is only about memory and about the past and recovering a lost something, but it's not about the future. So in infiltrating these spaces, these contemporary art spaces, there is a freedom of something that that isolation and what you call the conceptual thing is not about, like, as Alejandro was saying, transmitting a message, but there is something that I learned growing up in my house, which is kind of communicable, but kind of not, which sometimes people call it, like in the language of reggaeton, it's called flow, el flow. But we call it sabor, which in Spanish is a beautiful word because it's only one consonant that separates the word sabor from the word saber. So meaning sabor is flavor and saber is knowledge, but they're super close. But the main intention that we had, it was to treat, very much inspired by the joda de samba and the jodas, ruedas, or circles that you find all over the Latin America and the Caribbean in carnival spaces. You find structures in which, musical structures, machines, devices, in which the musicians play for themselves. Like the most famous one is joda de samba, in which, like, the musicians sit around a table and then they are playing for themselves. The spectators are treated as like a voyeurs. You know, it's like you're here, you're not here. And I think contemporary art spaces, they have they play by other rules than the rules of theater. So because folklore is not connected to theater, because of Grotowski, because of the work of Eugenio Barba, because of the work of Teatro Experimental de Cali. I mean, in the 60s and 70s, theater went there and explored that folklore in a quite fascinating way. Contemporary spaces, they are not even there. So it's quite fascinating of what you create there, because there is also this division, you know, which is also, if it is black and indigenous and people of color doing that, is mostly called music. But if it's white artists, then it's called sound art. So what we're doing is like entering in that gap and like bringing something that comes from the neighborhood that I grew up and bringing all these other traditions and not putting out a message, but like basically in a really kind of like a selfish way, say, look how we enjoy this thing. Look how this is a machine that keeps on producing. It's so generous, it's so generative, it's so generous and generative, and that's the rhythm that Ale was speaking about. That's what that's what it produces. And that in itself is so powerful that a message would reduce that, cannot convey that. Yeah.
I'm curious about the color red in your chants and in the room, and because there's so much awesome red in this room right now.
Yeah.
But does it have is it just like an affecting? Is there just a feeling about it? Is there like a meaning to it? Or why did you choose red? How did it feel to be?
Thanks. That's a wonderful question. The first one is that the word carnival comes from the Latin word carne levare, which means the elevation of the flesh. That's the first one. The second one has to do with Chango, which is an orisha, which is the color red that I always carry with me. And in the word carne levare, there's something, because that's the European tradition, but one way, Sylvia Wynter, who's a thinker from Jamaica, she in a great book, so great that no one has ever published it, which is called, I'm forgetting the title of the book right now. It's going to come in a second. But she proposes that we have to think that carnival, which kind of like died in Europe, there is still carnival in Europe, but it's more like a revival. It's not like properly alive. But what we can think of is in the availability of the flesh, and we can think of the slave trade and colonialism as the availability of the flesh. And she's following a black feminist thinker, Hortense Pillars. And she's in dialogue with her. Black Metamorphosis is the name of her book that has never been published, but it circulates as a PDF among people working on black studies. So the red has to do with that flesh. With that, it's a color that I love a lot. I'm working with a Zimbabwean artist, and I presented the film installation in Zimbabwe last year. And there's something quite fascinating that happened with the color red, because only mediums in the Shona tradition are allowed to see or wear the color red. So we couldn't show the installation to a couple of people, but they sat down and listened to the music. And when we got out of the room, because they were listening to the music, but they couldn't see the 3 screens that we were projecting, they were like, one said like, "Oh, those songs are really red." And I'm like, okay, I don't know, like red means so many things, so many. It's flesh, is the way that, communists were called los rojos in Latin America. It means so many things, but that was the choice. It's an impactful color.
Other questions, observations?
I have a question. When you look at each other's work here on film, I wonder if there are recognitions or insights, new insights that you gain. I wonder if you can just share maybe 1 or 2 thoughts or experiences that you have just witnessing each other's work.
So, yes, good question. Thank you for that. Okay, one of the things, so it's the first time I see the work of Luis, this work, and I resisted. I wanted to be unprepared for today, just to trick myself about how I should talk about it, how I should feel, and say I have few thoughts or impressions. One of them. So if I think the 2 works, I think that they are like cousins. We could have been in the same space, under the same umbrella of work. Cousins or sisters, or I don't know, something like that, or branches, or 2 branches of the same main branch. Mm-hmm. And I think also that we were dealing with similar artistic issues, problems, which is most of the time what you are dealing with. Creation is solving problems. How creative you are solving the many problems that come on you when you are working with your colleagues. So there is a question that an impression or a question or something that I relate with the work is the timing, the time of the songs, the times that the songs need to start to, to operate, to work inside the people. And that is not the time of the performers, is the time of the song, is the time of that day. And it's very challenging when you are working on that organic flow, which you cannot push it, you cannot, press, you cannot artificially create that process. And at the same time, you have the obligation of the performing arts, that the rules of the performing art, which is okay, that's in a ritual, you can be singing one song for hours. Nobody is expecting anything that being there. And it cooks slow, and it must cook slow. But when you change venue, when you change context, then you have other rules. You have to, and there is a whole thing to see, to learn, to understand, and many other things. But
Dominica, thanks for that question. It's so good. I would say that I'm watching because we did a similar event at NYU with Alejandro in the spring. So this is the second time that I'm seeing that time we showed the whole documentary. Now I'm seeing fragments and listening to Alejandro. I'm thinking of two things. One is like an acknowledgement, and the other one is a concern, like a question that also has to do with the choice of intervening that space which is not properly the performing arts or the theatrical conventional space, but that space of contemporary art. And one has to do with that concern with community, which can be so fake, and like all museums are now, they want to do community. I'm going to use a really academic term, but like they want to do their community bullshit. So sorry for my jargon again, but it's so fake. It is so fake because it is performative in that sense that people use the term performative right now, which means empty. And what I'm thinking when I'm listening to Alejandro, in that space, La Casa de la Montaña, and that need to have that, which I'm thinking of when Yoruba and Kene and Roman Diaz told us, you have to keep the devotional. If you want to do that work, you have to do the devotional work because that's the real work. And it's not, it is just getting together with people, eating, drinking, figuring out. It's about solidarity. It's about figuring out the daily life. So I'm seeing that like the work that Alejandro was showing today comes from that, which I visited in Argentina because I was shooting a film with a Brazilian artist and a Colombian artist, and I had the opportunity to be in that space, in that house, in that casa, in 2014, I think.
15 probably.
2015, see. So I saw that there were people there in search of something, and that was fitting. And today, what that commonality among many others, what is striking to me is that our work is a distillation, if you can say, or of that gathering that we did with Rumba de la Musa, bringing musicians and bringing brujas and brujos to do work and having people spend time together. And I see that like that is an impulse, because it's so difficult, because as Alejandro was saying, that community work requires a space and time and labor, requires a space. In the case of Rumba de la Musa, we did something that I wanted to do, and I tried to apply for a couple grants to get that, and then I'm like, okay, how much money would I need to like bring together all these musicians, all these masters from all over the Caribbean, gather with musicians? It's like, like $500,000. We ended up doing it like with $50,000, because like the other masters heard what was going on, and then people would bring food. What is it that you need? You're not charging? Oh my God. In New York, if I sit down in a restaurant with live music, the bill is going to be like $300 only for like 2 or 3 people. So people would start giving us money without us asking for money, because like we want to fit this thing. So I see that commonality. The other commonality is how I met Aga, Dominica, and Alejandro, is because of the work center of Jerzy Krotowski and Thomas Richards and the work that they were doing there. And I had a fascination because I was seeing something that comes from the place that I come from, done by people who were not from the place that I come from. And I was seeing that, and I was seeing some things, and I was never able to like join in fully because it took me a while to understand because of the devotional part, you know, because of the devotional, because it's different. So I see that commonality and that work of whom that guy Jerzy Grotowski, whom I never met, and I wrote my undergrad thesis in philosophy about his work, and then I ended up meeting these people and seeing that work. You know, I'm so grateful, and there is something of his work that still fits that in the positive and in the negative. Negative not in a bad way, but you know, like film, that you have the positive and you have the negative. It's like these two sides. So that is there too. You know, so that the community concern and the Grotowski acknowledgement, which is also something, because Alejandro, and you know, I only have gratitude for how many things I was able to witness, and I keep witnessing in their work.
I this is a question for you, but I'm just curious about your decision to do narration in English versus like Spanish with English subtitles, or this is kind of like a non-question. Right?
So I disagree.
I guess I'm just curious about your decision to do the narration of your film in English versus Spanish.
Because I didn't speak Spanish.
Okay. I was wondering.
Okay, it was a question for you.
But also, a lot of the work was done in English.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't Argentine. So it was just a choice that started from the practicality, but also from the reality of what things were at the time.
One more question.
I have one.
Yes.
Luis, I'm really curious about there's so much of this type of work that is about the space that you're in. And for me, it was almost uncanny seeing this type of work inside a gallery. Like, there was something not, for me, that didn't fit somehow. And this, you chose a very small space, like a small box, to originate the sound from. I'm really interested in the thinking process behind that, the acoustics, and like how that relates to this way of working. How did that happen?
Cool. Roman Diaz, he's an Akpon, a legend in Afro-Cuban religion and music. One day in one of these Rumba de la Musa gatherings that we were doing, he said, like, Luis, you have to build a caja de bateo, which is an expression that Cuban singers use a lot. How do you call caja de bateo? You know, it's the place in baseball where you bat. The batting cage. So the batting cage, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because he's always speaking in this coded, and then he didn't explain, and I'm like, but caja de bateo. I'm like, but I don't even like baseball. Like, why am I gonna build that? And then he kept, you know, he always speaks in these like coded ways. And then one day I was listening to a song by Ismael Rivera, a Puerto Rican singer. And then in one song, which is the first song that he recorded in his first album, he sings about the caja de bateo. And then the song explains that the caja de bateo is the people that he decides to make music with. And then that created, I don't know, the image of the cube came to my head right away. And then we built it without knowing exactly how it was gonna work. And then when we had it, we built it first. We built a prototype first in the original size in our studio in Brooklyn. And then we invited Maestro Roman without explaining, hey, Maestro, come over. You know, we have some nice St. Lucian rum, which we didn't have that day. And then he came in and he brought a clave, which is these two sticks that you saw in Alejandro's and your film. And then he saw the thing, he pulled out the clave, went in and started playing. And then the sound, we didn't even sing, or like I wanted Roman to be the first person to be there. And then he said like, oh, this needs to be in a space, and I'm like, I think I have the space. And the uncanny feeling that you're, that's why I was saying that I like the limitations and the impositions, because of the possibilities that it creates that contemporary spaces have, particularly because of the obsession in the last 10 years that contemporary artists and contemporary arts institutions have with sound art. Because then it allows to do this thing, and like the language, the piece that I read, is a piece that is written for curators. You know, it's not for theater people, it's not for performance study, it's for curators, so that they understand that like what we're proposing is a sound piece. Oh, what is it? It's a sound piece. Is it a performance? No, it's an installation, performance device, but it's not coded in that language. So when Roman gave, and then he made corrections, and then we spent a bunch of time with him, and then when we had the first, we did some brujeria in there just to activate and activate the caja de bateo, which then I finally understood that the caja de bateo was how you do something with your friends. Carnival is about friendship, it's about solidarity, and how that propels the things that you're doing. You know, and that also has to do with the ascension of things. But again, it's like weird to be doing that work in art spaces, but at the same time, it's like, oh, you want. I always think of Fred Moten's book, In the Break. He's saying in the beginning of the book, this poet thinker that is my mentor. He says he makes fun of the avant-gardes of the 70s, because he says like, okay, like what the avant-gardes in the 70s were doing in New York, African American people were doing for 200 years, but we don't call it. So even Grotowski's interest in the voodoo tradition recognizes the contemporaneity of that tradition, which makes clear that tradition belongs in a contemporary more than abstract expressionism.
Yeah, I love it.
You know? Sorry for the joke.